People want to be better. You might want to be better. Being a better person not only makes your life so much more meaningful, it also positively influences the people around you and touches their lives in the best ways too. A noble person is someone who has and shows personal qualities that people admire and who decides to behave the way an admirable person would. Luckily, it isn't impossible to be one yourself. It isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. In this video, we'll go into 10 traits of a noble person. Number 1, they're responsible. Responsibility means feeling that it's your duty to deal with what comes up and acting independently by making decisions without someone else's approval in mind. Imagine someone who always steps up to the plate when things get rough and in everyday life, and own up to the promises they make to follow through on them. Pretty admirable, right? These people don't disappear when things get hard. They finish what they started and stick it out, doing the best they can to fulfill their duties. They've got goals too, and work towards them. They're goal-orientated and work with energy and purpose, perseverance in hand, while they weather the curveballs that life throws at them to reach the goals they've set for themselves. Number 2, they intentionally live their lives. An admirable person is intentional about their life, defining a purpose for their life and actually putting in the work to live the way they need to live. They inject everything they do with meaning. It means understanding your fundamental beliefs and values, and then actively living your life in line with those values. Noble people know what they believe in and stick by them, uncompromising in their beliefs and unwavering in the face of distraction. Everyone's realities are different, and noble people evaluate theirs clearly. What this means is that they understand their external and internal environments deeply. They don't live life blind and stumbling through it, but with eyes open and a clear objective ahead. This doesn't mean that they're necessarily after the reward on its own. They also acknowledge that progress is its own reward and choose to learn from their journeys, believing that progress isn't transactional. Number 3, they're kind. One of the most defining traits of a noble person is kindness. Always caring for people with love and respect. It's being compassionate and forgiving, knowing how to understand and care for others with no selfish motives in mind. Kindness also involves empathy, which is when we feel what another person is feeling. According to the simulation theory, empathy is possible when we see another person and simulate their emotion in ourselves, so that we can know firsthand what it's like. You can imagine that it isn't the easiest thing to do, because it's basically absorbing someone else's emotions into yourself. Without firm boundaries, it can be easy to lose yourself in the negative ones. It takes a lot of energy to manage other people's emotions, but noble people know how to keep a healthy balance and draw their lines in the sand for their well-being. Because of this, empaths give great advice because they put themselves in another person's shoes. Number 4, they're courageous. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that someone else is more important than fear. This is easily confused with fearlessness, but it isn't the same thing. Courage doesn't mean not being afraid, but it's doing something despite that fear. It's looking fear in the eye and saying, "Not today." To be courageous is to not let fear govern your actions. It fortifies people who are going after their goals and demands strength from them. Number 5, they practice integrity. Integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral practices, and a noble person practices integrity in their everyday life. It means going beyond knowing your values. It's controlling your behavior to make it consistent with those values. People with integrity care about doing the right thing, even when it's hard. They do the right thing, even when no one is watching, even when it's not convenient for them at the moment. They're not doing it for any form of reward. They're just wired to do what they think is right. It also means speaking out against injustice and standing up for what's right. It's fair-mindedness and being unbiased. Number 6, they're wise. A noble person can be intelligent, but it isn't the same thing as being wise. Wisdom is seeing the big picture. It's having knowledge that gives you insight and judgment and actually putting that into practice or giving people advice to do that too. It's using the information you have and the understanding you have of life to make a good life for yourself and for the people around you. It's deeper than internalizing facts. It's critical thinking and careful judgment too. Just because these people are knowledgeable doesn't mean their heads are all puffed up with their own sense of importance. A true trait of a noble person is the ability to always be learning from your environment without taking being wrong as a personal slight. Number 7, they're optimistic. Winston Churchill once said, "A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity, an optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty." Optimism is a hopeful attitude of hope and confidence in success and a positive future. It's having a healthy outlook on life and being forward-thinking instead of dwelling on problems. Noble people aren't too pessimistic that their outlook on life is a negative or harmful one. They're resilient and bounce back from troubles. They learn from the past to better their present and future without feeling sorry for themselves and focusing on all the negatives in life. They look on the bright side when things get tough and interpret situations in the best possible light, maybe even going so far as to turn them into learnings. Number 8, they're independent. Independence means thinking, feeling, and active without relying on others' direction. It's taking control of your own life and realizing that no one can help you best but yourself. People see other independent people as people to look up to because of how self-reliant and powerful they are. They see how these people control their own behaviour without influence from others and aspire to be the same. It's also avoiding being codependent in relationships. Codependency is when we become emotionally addicted to another person and expect them to fix our lives, caring with obligation and lacking boundaries and self-worth. Independent people are the opposite. They have a clear picture of who they are and know when something crosses the line. Number 9, they inspire. A big trait of a noble person is being inspirational. All of the above traits are positive ones that everyone can benefit from embodying, and a noble person knows that. This last ability to be inspirational takes all of these traits and projects them onto others so that they can be the same. Noble people aren't selfish about their traits. They don't want to turn kindness and integrity and responsibility into a contest and be the winners. They want to inspire everyone to want to be better and will do what they can to share their positive traits with the people around them. Number 10, they're confident. One character trait of a noble person is confidence and high self-esteem. Confidence is a belief in oneself, the conviction that one has the ability to meet life's challenges and to succeed. Self-esteem is a little different, but it is related. It's giving respect and admiration to yourself and believing in your capabilities. Both of these traits are found in noble people because people aspire to be confident and to have high self-esteem. It's no wonder, with papers published that connect self-confidence with success in life. Confident people are visionaries, people who think big, a noble trait because they also prove to others that big goals are attainable. They inspire people to believe that they can be confident too, but they stay humble in that they aren't too confident to cross the line into narcissistic territory.